Hey guys, what's up? This is Hex, and in today's video, I'm going to be talking a bit about the Blackwood chapter reveal, which is the Gates of Oblivion story. And this was revealed in a stream by Zoss, I think it was a couple of days ago. And I'm not going to go over every little detail that I saw in the stream. I'm just going to cover a few points that I kind of thought was of interest to me. As far as like the story layout goes, it's pretty much going to be similar to what it was last year, where you have the dungeon DLC, then you have the main chapter story, and then another dungeon DLC, and then you're going to have the prologue. And I think there's going to be two prelude quests. Um, One I think is before the chapter, the main chapter, and the other one is before the prologue. And for those of you who are kind of worried about, you know, whether or not you would be missing out if you did the DLC. They did mention, and I can't remember right off the top of my head which person mentioned this, but they did mention that if you didn't want to do any of the dungeon DLC, that was fine. You would still be able to get the full story. Just by doing the preludes and the chapter and the prologues. You don't have to do the dungeon DLC. All those are there for is just to kind of set the mood. One of the things that interested me in the stream was companions, and companions are essentially NPCs that you can unlock doing certain quests. And once you get them, and you can only do, I think you can only like summon like one at a time. And once you summon them, they can fight alongside you. Fighting enemies, monsters, and so on. You can level them up. You can assign combat roles, skills, equip new gear. You can also unlock personal story quests for each companion. And I think this is really a good thing, especially for newer players coming in. Because some people that are coming in the game for the first time are no doubt some of them are gonna be shy, and they might be too afraid to ask other players to help them. With this, it kind of you kind of have like a a buddy to help you out uh, when you're in a bit of a tough jam. The only problem I have with this, or well, the only concern I guess you could say I could have with this, is that ZeniMax has spent a long time trying to make this game stable. And while there are some issues with it here and there, for the most part, I feel that they're doing better. But it just makes me wonder if you have all these players, running around, with companions, how is that going to, how is that going to affect the stability of the game? I guess we'll have to really wait and see. Currently, right now, they are testing it on for PC on the private test server. So I guess we'll eventually find out if it with whether or not it affects anything. The the Another new thing that they were talking about having was a new tutorial. Now, as many of you know, when you start the game, of course, naturally you're going to get a tutorial. But I've noticed that for like each chapter, there was always a different tutorial. That way, if you're coming in new into the game, and let's say you started Somerset for the first time, it would give you a bit of a tutorial. Well, what they're wanting to do now is just have the a new tutorial, which is the same for everyone. And when you finish the end of the tutorial, uh, you have the option to choose, where you want to go from the start. They also talked a bit about Update 29 and some of the changes that were occurring into the game. Um, some of the people in the stream had asked about the armor and weapon caps, if that was going to change. Uh, and they said no, this was going to be still at 160 champion points. And as far as I know, they said it wasn't going to go any higher. Um, Now the big thing that they talked about was they were going to change the champion point system. That they felt like the one that we're currently on now is a bit restrictive, and they redesigned it to where it was a lot more fluid, a lot more flexible. And I think currently on console, I think it's around, it's capped at 810. And the way they were talking, unless I misunderstood this, but they were acting like the cap would be well over 3,000. I mean, it was crazy. I wish I could remember offhand the exact number, but I'm pretty sure it was over 3,000. Now, I'm not going to go really into detail about the champion point system because that would just take a long time to cover it. But what I will do is I will put a link in the description box for the stream, and then I'll put a timestamp. That way you can see for yourself what the changes are. And trust me, when you see it, you'll be blown away because it's a lot of cool stuff going on. Another thing, the update, and I thought this was actually cool, was they were talking about changing how armor acts. And what I mean by that is, like, for example, if you're wearing heavy armor and you're sneaking, you know, it's going to be, you can still sneak, but it's going, they were talking like it was going to be you're going to be getting some negative effects from that because, well, you're walking in metal, so obviously you're not going to be as quiet as somebody who's walking around in light armor or somebody who's walking around in medium armor. And it's the same thing with, like, if you're using bash. Obviously if I have light armor, my bash isn't going to be as effective as somebody using, heavy armor. But that's all I wanted to talk to you guys for today. Give me a thumbs up if you like this video, and please subscribe if you haven't done so already. And I hope to talk to you guys real soon. Take care.